Hey guys, welcome back. I am really excited for today's project. Ever since I found out that if you engrave an acrylic and put it on an LED light, it lights up. And I think it makes the coolest gift or the coolest addition to any room. So let's go ahead and make that. So for the base, I am building that using a 1x2 and a 1x3 board, and all I did was I measured about a couple inches over from the size of my plexiglass, and I just cut there at 45 degrees on the 1x2, and the 1x3 is basically the same length as the 1x2. For the LEDs, I am actually using this narrow LED. This one's 5mm wide, and I really like that the spacing between the LEDs is also a lot lower, so you can get a lot higher density of light out. And then I'm using an RF controller. The good thing about this is that you don't need to have it visible out like you do with when you're using an IR controller. And of course that comes with a remote, and then you need a 5-volt power adapter, which you could find something that you might already have, or I have a link to all of these things that I'm using in the description below. I set the blade height on my table saw at approximately half the thickness of the 1x2 and the fence at 3/4 inches and ran the board through. I am making the grooves to accommodate the LED light strip and the controller. I adjusted 1/8 of an inch on both directions of the center cut and ran the board through to make a groove that was wide enough. Then I marked the center line on the other side of that 1x2 where the plexiglass will go through. I used a 3/32 bit to start a few holes as close to each other as possible. And then I used a jigsaw to make the slot. I found that 2 passes of the jigsaw blade were enough to get a slot wide enough for the acrylic to go through. On the 1x3, I needed to make a few passes on the table saw to make a groove that was wide enough to accommodate any part of the controller that might stick out of the 1x2. I sanded the board smooth and then began to work on the LED. Now for the LED strip, even though the LED and the controller come with connectors that are compatible with each other, I decided to eliminate all that extra stuff and directly attach the controller to the LED strip. The best way to solder wires to the tiny pads on the LED strip is to first coat the wires with some solder and then solder them onto the pad. Make sure to keep track of the wires and that they do not touch each other. Once soldered, I measured the length of the LED strip I needed and cut at the designated marks. Then I added heat shrink tubing to protect the joint. The LED strip with the controller fits right in the 1x2 with the connector sticking slightly out on one end, and this can easily be attached to the power adapter. Then I attached this entire thing to the 1x3 using wood glue and clamped and let it dry. Now for the acrylic, you can actually buy pre-cut shapes and sheets and various sizes. I actually bought mine at the Home Depot and cut it up to the size I needed. To engrave, there are many options, and I use the Cricut Maker with the engraving tip. You could also engrave it by hand using a rotary tool. Or if you have a CNC or a laser engraver, then you have that choice. Once the glue had dried, I stained the holder and added the plexiglass. I need to clean up all those fingerprints, but I absolutely love this. I engraved a coat from Harry Potter for my daughter, who is a big fan. Plus, I engraved a few other designs that can easily be swapped out. If you are looking for a few other fun and beginner-friendly acrylic projects, I have a few that you should definitely check out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.